Bring you this story in KwaZulu-Natal. The Mhlathuze Water matter has been postponed to the 6th of April 2023 to separate two matters that are linked. One being a fraud matter, which involves 7 accused, including the CEO, Mhlathuze Water, the CFO, and the service providers from Mhlathuze Water. The other matter is the intimidation of witnesses and defeating the ends of justice involving KwaZulu-Natal Director General Mhlathuze, her accomplice, and 2 other people. Now, eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is monitoring the case for us and is joining us now live. Dasen, very good afternoon to you. So what happened in court today?
Well, Braden, it was meant to be a fairly short appearance. It was really meant to be a remand for further investigation. But the state also used the opportunity to unpack some of what it's already been working on in this investigation. But much of the time really went towards its arguments for a 7-month adjournment. So it wanted a really long adjournment, and that, it said, was because it needed to have to analyze the devices that were seized from the accused, 23 devices, and that was already sent to a digital forensic lab, but there was still more work that needed to be done to try to extract information from it. Something else that had also come up was in relation to these devices. From that, they would then determine which evidence was going to be used in those 2 cases that you mentioned. But I think most importantly, apart from the original 6 accused that we had in this matter, we were also told today that there was a 7th arrest in the past month or so. That someone else has now been added to the fraud matter. That's a 37 million rand fraud matter. But beyond that, there are 23 other people as well as 4 entities that have been identified as part of this investigation. So it's a possibility then that there could be more arrests, that this case could end up becoming bigger than it is. We were also given a sneak preview of exactly what information had been coming out, and that is, during this inquiry, and that's where these 23 persons of interest were identified. It was found that they had 122 bank accounts that were linked to them. So certainly it means that the investigation is well underway. The magistrate, though, wasn't impressed, and she said that 7 months is way too long. So instead, she says that this case needs to come back to court in April, and at that point, she'll make a determination as to whether the rest of that period would be granted based on what the state's investigations have proven up until that point.
Yeah, was it a concern that these delays might affect the trial itself?
So, in fact, there was a call, particularly from the lawyer that is representing the Director General, Mhlathuze. In fact, her lawyer saying that that case must be separated because, just to remind our viewers, she is implicated in intimidation as well as defeating the ends of justice. And that's so she's not necessarily linked to the so-called big fraud, as the magistrate very casually put it today in court. So her lawyer says that the longer this case drags out, if you look at that possible 7-month adjournment, it means that she's going to be suffering reputational damage because of her position being as senior as it is. Also, the government in general will be suffering reputational damage. So for that reason, they wanted to make sure that that case gets underway as quickly as possible, that it gets to a trial phase so that they can get through with it. But right now, it seems that at least until April next year, both of these matters will be dragging on. And at that point, that determination of whether they'll be separated will be taken.
Yeah, and Dasen, very briefly, you said that the investigations are ongoing and there might be more arrests.
It's very possible because that's what's happening right now. So there is a request that has been put in. There is a digital, rather a forensics team, forensic investigators that have been roped in. They're also assisting the SAPS. So their task right now is to go through all of the data that has been found on those devices. And as a result of that, look at the communication streams, look at who else could possibly be implicated. But most importantly, financial records. And Braden, those are not just within the country, those are also international. So there's been an application that's been made to get assistance from other countries in relation to this information that is being sought. That is part of the delay. So this will be what the investigators will be busy with over the next few months, but they'll have to really make sure that they get as much as they need before the next court appearance, because if they don't, they'll have to proceed with just the information that they've uncovered so far.
Yeah, and the next time we'll hear about this matter in court is April next year. Thank you very much, Dasen Thathiah, there, giving us an update about this case.